What's up, everybody? This is Mr. 100K a day in the flesh, and I am just was supposed to be on my way to the airport, and instead I'm here recording another episode of the biggest hater in track and field. And the reason why is I think that it's time that Black people we take a stance against Oregon, the state of Oregon, the United States Olympic Committee placing the Olympic trials in Oregon, and just this whole Nike Oregon putting the Olympic trials in Oregon year after year after year repeatedly. Okay. So guys, as you can see on the picture right now, on the profile right now, I have a picture of me and Allyson Felix. That was me at the Olympic trials 16 years ago in 2008. Me and Allyson Felix dated briefly back in the mid 2000s. She was cool, but I didn't like her for real. I thought she was cool for a minute, but I saw she was fake, so I decided not to continue dating her. But this was me when I ran into her at the Olympic trials in 2008, after we had stopped dating. And this is after she had started to date Kenneth Ferguson, the hurdler. So it was cool. So I went to all of the trials back in the day. I went to the one in Sacramento. I went to the one in Eugene, and I got a chance to meet a lot of people. This is the same day we got a chance to kick it with Jackie Joyner. Jackie Joyner's from East St. Louis, not far from where I grew up. That's her and Gail Devers. That's at the Hilton in Eugene. And this is, of course, Wallace Spearman and Monica Hargrove. That's at the same meet. So this is the last one that I actually attended in 2008. So I went purchased tickets to this meet, the one that starts today. I went and did a lot to prepare for the meet. Spent a lot of money, spent thousands of dollars, hotel rooms, tickets, flights, and everything. So in the middle of the night, right, I had a dream and something came to me. I just started to think about Nike, what Oregon represents, and how far and remote I have to fly, the distance I have to travel just to go and attend this track meet. Number one, Oregon sucks as a city. Eugene sucks. It is extremely remote. It is extremely expensive to fly into Eugene, and there's really nothing to do. It's not like Atlanta or LA or Chicago or Houston or Dallas. So it's already bothering me that the United States Olympic Committee decided to place, or USCF decided to put the Olympic trials in a remote place. I'm sure they've heard the complaints of the fans year after year after year, and it's gotten very, very, very irritating. Right, very literally, you have to spend four, and I'm by myself, so traveling by myself is to stay 3 days in a reasonable hotel that's not a slum. It's cost $4,500. That's between the flight, 3 days stay for 3 days, stay to the 24th, which will be Monday night, and Uber food. That's not even including the food and Uber. So that's just hotel and flights, because they price gouge on the hotels and the Airbnbs up there every year. This is what they do constantly. But the more I thought about it, and in the course of my dream, I got a chance to think about what Oregon represents, right? Um, so we know United States has a pretty good history of great track and field athletes. So, but when you think about it on a professional level, we don't really have any major meets for track and field in the United States, except one. The biggest meet we have in the United States for track and field on a professional level is dedicated to who? It's the Steve Prefontaine Classic, a distance runner who died 50 years ago. 50 years ago next year, he died, and he was a distance runner, a mediocre distance runner. Is that he had no gold medals. As a matter of fact, he never medaled at the Olympics. He has no world records when he died, and really, he was just another. Even what goes on today, he's just another quote unquote American prodigy in distance running. So just like the Alan Webbs was, just like the Susie Faber Hamiltons were, we have these white distance runners that come along and supposed to be the prodigy and save distance runner or middle distance running for the United States, but they never do. Usually, they never come. They never materialize. This is what because they don't have the genetics to do so. But that's another conversation. So In my mind, I'm trying to figure out why is it that the most prestigious meet in the United States is dedicated to this particular fellow. I mean, like I've said, I don't have anything against Steve Prefontaine. He hasn't done anything to me. This is him running at the 1972 Munich Olympics. You know, he was considered to be a gutsy guy. He ran, tried to run, take the lead. Sometimes he would run from the middle, but he liked to push the pace. He didn't like the fact that people like to come at the end of the race and steal it. Uh, and to let somebody else take the reins, and then somebody else will come at the end and steal it. So this is Steve Prefontaine. He's in this race right here. He's currently in, I believe that's him right there in third position. He's coming up from the back. That's him on the outside right there, the black shorts on. So his style of racing, it was gutsy. Yes, you can give him some credit for the way he tried to proceed in racing. He wanted to push the pace. But he just didn't have the genetics. He had heart. But the main thing that bothered me about the celebration of Steve was the fact that in his greatest moment in life, of course, he was 21 years old, 22. He was 21. This is him at his greatest moment in life. Somebody blew by him, literally. You can't see because the pop up came on, but he literally got fourth at his best moment. At his most important moment in track and field, he got fourth place, guys. Fourth. He tried to push the pace. He fell apart in the last 40, 50 meters, and somebody blew past him and got the bronze from him. So Steve Prefontaine, the biggest, most prestigious meet that the United States has, sponsored by Nike, is dedicated to a white guy who, by all accounts, would be mediocre. He was never an Olympic medalist. He was never a gold medalist. He has never broken any world records. He was a middle long distance runner. Okay. So all these accolades that Oregon, Nike dedicate, and the resources they dedicate to this meet, it all comes on the shoulders of praising a white guy who wasn't really even that great. And this thing has been bothering because I'm seeing this thing constantly. The Abby Steiner thing, the Matt Boland thing. They constantly praise and promote mediocre white athletes over black athletes that have actually performed and excelled. Prime example. We got the Nike Prefontaine Classic, y'all. The Nike Prefontaine Classic is every year. Everybody runs to their meet. Everybody loves going there. But why don't we have the Jackie Joyner Kersey Classic by Nike? Why not? She has many gold medals, many Olympic gold medals. She has incredible long jump resume. She doesn't have the world record. I think it's about a Russian lady who's been standing 35, almost 40 years. But her resume really says that she probably should have a professional meet in the United States dedicated to her. Of course, she has a high school meet in East St. Louis, which I know about, but anybody can get a high school meet. I can get a high school meet, and I was nothing but a state champion. Okay. So Jackie Joyner Kersey, with all her accolades, all those medals, her being an Olympic gold medalist, no professional meets dedicated to her by any major corporation or shoe company. Okay. Gail Devers, amazing hurdler, amazing 100-meter runner, two-time 100-meter Olympic champion, 2 times back to back. It's only been done maybe 4 times in history, maybe 4, even to this day. Gail Devers, and this is probably one of the hardest events to be competitive in, the 100-meter dash. You got like little room for error. And when she won her Olympic gold medals, I think if you add both winning margins together for Gail Devers, you probably don't even get 500ths of a second. That's adding both together, her winning margin in 1996 and her winning margin in 1992. So this is the level of talent that and competitiveness that she had to have and that she had to compete with in order to be successful in the 100-meter dash. Let's go to another guy, Jesse Owens. What professional meet does Jesse Owens have dedicated towards him? 4 Olympic gold medals, 4 at one meet. At one meet, did Steve Prefontaine get even one gold medal at the Olympics? One. No, he did not. Jesse Owens does not have a professional meet dedicated to him by a major company pushing the Jesse Owens meets every year that a lot of money is invested into. Okay. Flojo. Still, here we are, 35, almost 40 years later. 3 gold medals in 1998 alone. 1 silver medal in the 4x400 in 1998 at the same meet. Ran a great leg, even though she couldn't catch the girl on her anchor leg. World record holder still in the 100-meter dash. World record holder also in the 200-meter dash still. She ran the 100 full time for 1 year and put that record out of reach. And here we are almost 40 years later, and it still hasn't been touched. Where's the Flojo professional meet dedicated to her and her feats? Now, let's mind you, Flojo died in 1998. That's about 26 years ago. 26. So Nike or whoever has had plenty of time to get money behind her and push money into a meet dedicated to Flojo to really celebrate how great she really was. A black woman at that. Okay, a black woman who represented her blackness and who a lot of women these days even try to emulate. As a matter of fact, Sha'Carri Richardson and a lot of these other ones, they have emulated or want to emulate the style, the persona of Flojo. A lot of people are walking in Flojo's shadow. And guess what? No Nike meet that is on the Diamond League dedicated to her, but they do have one dedicated to Steve Prefontaine, a white boy with no world records and no gold medals. He don't even have a bronze medal at the Olympics. Okay, so I'm gonna go to one more guy, Carl Lewis. Where's his professional meet dedicated to him? 4 Olympic gold medals at one meet, 1984. Okay, one meet in 1984. Let's not count the fact that he actually ended up getting what? I think 9 total gold medals in his career at the Olympics. 9. So what Steve Prefontaine couldn't do one time, Carl Lewis did 9 times. That is the problem that I have with Nike, Oregon, and this whole track and field relationship that they have with USATF. Why do they celebrate white mediocrity but don't celebrate black excellence? I just named 4 black track and field athletes, or 5, that all came along and were gold medalists, world record holders, and doing ridiculous things. But guess who gets the most notoriety in the United States? Who gets the most attention? A white boy. A white boy who died 50 years ago with no Olympic gold medals, with no world records, and with absolutely zero real credentials. Steve Prefontaine. That's where we are, guys. And not only that, when I do some more research and I understand the history of Oregon, Oregon was against slavery. They were against slavery. But Oregon didn't want blacks there, regardless. They didn't want blacks there. So despite all of the praise Oregon tries to pretend like they should receive for not permitting slavery, I still think that based on their legislature, their laws, and the real sentiment that they had, we still should not support Oregon or anything that goes on in Oregon anymore. Because the state of Oregon had what you call the Oregon Lash Law. Now, I don't know if some of you are familiar with the Oregon Lash Law, but the Oregon Lash Law was a provision that the legislature in Oregon passed in 1843. And it prohibited slavery, but it made no mention of free blacks. So the next year, they introduced a bill that extended new restrictions against blacks specifically. So one of the sections required that people holding slaves in Oregon to remove them within 3 years or the slaves will be freed. But there was another provision And this is the one that kills me. The other provision require free blacks over the age of 18 to leave Oregon or be subjected to trial. If found guilty, the person was to receive upon his or her bareback not less than 20, no more than 39 stripes, which are lashes, to be inflicted by the constable of the proper county. The punishment was to be repeated every 6 months until the person departed. So this lash law was passed, but it was soon changed to replace the whipping provisions with ones calling for forced labor, followed by removal from Oregon. So, despite the fact that Oregon was geographically distant from the real core of slavery, which was in the South, they still exhibited strong anti-black sentiments. So, um, you know, the small numbers of blacks that were tolerated in Oregon throughout the 1800s, you still see some of that same thing now. Oregon is still, all in all, other than maybe Portland and a few other cities and college towns, is still a mostly white community. And this is why laws like this is why it's not like the South where blacks were and you were just a slave or you were marginalized and you had the Jim Crow stuff. Oregon say, okay, we don't want blacks here at all. Just don't come here. And if you do come here, we're going to put your back to the test with some lashes. And this is what your back will look like. So when I add all of this up, I think about Oregon. I think about Steve Prefontaine. I think about the meat. I think about Jackie Joyner Kersey. I think about Gail Devers. I think about Jesse Owens. I think about the late great Flojo. I think about Carl Lewis. And I think about me up in Oregon running into Allyson Felix again. Now, I loved Allyson Felix. She had a beautiful smile. She was a very sweet, soft soul. But when I think about my time up there with her, it made me say today, when I woke up from that dream, it made me say, I am not traveling to Oregon. I will not support Oregon any longer. I will not support the United States Olympic trials in Oregon or Eugene any longer. And I will not support Nike putting it up there ever again. 2008, 2012, 2016, 2021, 2024. How many times does Nike put or does Nike get control over the United States Olympic trials, track and field trials, and put it in its exact same remote freaking city, back to back to back? To me, it's completely irresponsible for Nike to do such a thing. It is unfair to the track and field fans as a whole. Track is already struggling. Why not put it in a major metropolitan city like Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, Houston, where you have the population density that could even support filling the stands up? And it's not so remote to the point where it's costs an arm and a leg just to travel there. So I'm gonna show y'all this, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. This is Travelocity website. So let's just say you want to fly into Eugene, right? And you don't have to fly into Portland. Let's say you're flying from in the middle of the country. Let's say you're flying from St. Louis, right? And you want to go round trip, and this is without even hotels. This is without anything else. This is just a round trip ticket, and you want to go tomorrow. You want to go to Eugene, Oregon tomorrow, and you want to fly at any time, and you're going to stay till Tuesday because there are no events on Tuesday. So you're going to fly in tomorrow to see the 100-meter dashes finals, stay all weekend into Monday, and then leave on Tuesday. Let's see what your price will be. This is from the middle of the country, from St. Louis to Oregon round trip, one traveler. Matter of fact, let's do a family because sometimes you want to take your girlfriend, your wife, your baby mama, and your kids. So we're going to do 2 adults and 2 kids. And we're going to say the kids are age 3 and 6. You got kids that are interested in watching the meet. You want to get your kids into them. Let's see what it would cost a family of 4 to fly from St. Louis to Oregon tomorrow. Okay. It says $1,357 just for the flight. Let's go to the cheapest one. Okay, we're gonna go to let's put it from cheapest to the highest. So that's the recommended. So we're gonna go lowest price to the highest. It's a family of four, guys. A family of four. $986 is the cheapest thing. So we're gonna go economy, and we are using United. So this is the cheapest one that they have. Okay, we're gonna come back the cheapest one that they have to 8:23 in the morning. And this is what it comes out to be. A family of four, 2 adults, 2 kids. 2 adults, 2 kids. And this is not even including the hotel, y'all. This is what it comes out to be. The total price, it says here, guys, is it comes up as $3,942. $3,942.24 for a family of 4 to go to Oregon. A family of 4 to go to Oregon. This is what it costs, guys. This is what it costs. 3,900. This is just with the flight. No hotels, no food, no nothing. No Ubers, no rental car, no nothing. $3,000 for travel from the middle of the country, not the other side of the country, but the middle of the country to Oregon. Okay. So everybody, when I add all these things up, when I think about all of these circumstances, when I think about all of these issues, when I think about Oregon's Lash Law, the history of Oregon, Nike, how they celebrate mediocre white athletes and don't promote in the same way excellent black athletes historically, it makes me say it's time. It's time that we completely abandon Nike, the Olympic trials, being in Oregon, and this little relationship that they've established, this little monopoly that they have all together. I'm through rocking with them. I'm not going to support it anymore. And I hope that you guys don't support it anymore either, especially if you're black. Especially if you're black. This is ridiculous, y'all. You mean to tell me Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Carl Lewis, Gail Devers, FloJo, Jesse Owens, nobody has a big meet dedicated to them, but they celebrate this mediocre white boy? Mediocre. He's America's distance prodigy because that's what they want to celebrate. This is just the 1970s version of Abby Steiner and Matt Boland. That's all. That's all. So based on that, yeah, I'm staying. I'm staying, and I'm gonna watch it from home. I'm gonna bet on it. I'm gonna bet against Noah Lyles. I hope he fails. And if he do make the team, I want him to fail at the Olympics, so billions of people go watch and not just watching the trials. I'm going to bet against Abby Steiner. I'm going to pray that Matt Boland doesn't make the team either. So Jenna Prandini, don't want her to make the team. Want her to fail because she's old now. So that's all, guys. Anyway, this has been another episode of The Biggest Hater in Track and Field. And this is another picture of me and my ex-girlfriend, Allyson Felix. She was a little skinny, but she was cool. Still had a cute little smile, though. I'm going to catch y'all later. And please, please do not attend the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon, if you're black. Peace.